This episode of AskJay is brought to you by GoDaddy. Congratulations, you sold your company. Now you've got an earnout. What's that? I'm Jay Adelson, and I'm the founder and chairman of Revision 3. I've started and built a number of companies. My goal in this show is to pass on some of the knowledge from my experiences to you, the budding entrepreneurs, and hopefully leave you with some words of wisdom. Today's question comes from Conrad Hart, who asks, can you explain how an earnout works? When you read a company's been acquired for $5 million in cash plus a $5 million earnout, what does it mean? Conrad, first of all, to be asking this question implies that you already are talking to someone about acquisition. Right? So at a certain point, a lot has transpired. You've been successful enough that you're having an M&A or merger and acquisition conversation with a corporate development person or a CEO of another company, and you sit down and start talking about terms of that deal. And the concept of an earnout gets presented on the table. So let's go over it from the top. So when you value a company, what you're doing is you're taking the total value of your shares, and you're assuming a number. Like if you're selling your company for $5 million in cash, that is the value of your company. When you talk about things like earnouts and holdback provisions, really that's a separate number. And the reason it's separate is because your investors are going to get paid back based on what that first number is. So if the equity is worth $5 million in cash and they own 20% of that, obviously they're going to get $1 million for that equity. So it's very important to understand that how your investors see value is really how you should see value as well. So what's this other $5 million in your example? Well, in this case, what's happening is on the back side of the deal, after the deal is closed, and you're working for this company, the company says to you, we're going to give you this other chunk of cash based on success. So essentially they're saying, look, we're guaranteeing you $5 million, but the rest of it we're going to hedge. We're going to take a bet on you, but if you don't do what we're hoping you'll do, then we're not going to pay you the cash. Usually it's some kind of sliding scale. Maybe it's a certain amount of revenue that your product produces or certain milestones you have to hit. And earnouts are actually becoming less and less popular. And the reason is because most acquisitions, at least in the tech community, have a lot more to do with team and the people than they do the specific product. How many times have you heard stories about Google or Apple or Yahoo or others buying company and actually shutting down the product just because they're buying them for the team or some component of the technology? So to assign an earnout to a lot of these companies being acquired implies that they're already pretty strong revenue-producing businesses. Of course, the catch-22 with that is if you're already a revenue-producing business, there's less risk associated with making that money. So earnouts just don't make a lot of sense anymore, and I think I see less and less of that. Instead, what I see is something called a holdback provision, which for the founders, the people who are going to make millions from the acquisition, they are told, look, if we gave you all that cash on day one, then you'd just quit. And then what was the point of buying the company? Part of the reason they bought the company was for you, and you're going to walk away if they give you that cash up front. So instead of giving you that cash up front, they're going to give you like maybe, I don't know, a quarter of it or something like that, or half of it. And then the rest of your period, usually 3 or 4 years that they want you to stick around, they'll release quarterly, maybe every 6 months, maybe annually, some amount of that cash back to you. Doesn't matter whether or not your division's making any money, doesn't matter if you hit all the milestones, but they're just going to want you to stay. It's kind of like a stock incentive plan, but they're using cash. Now the rest of the employees, typically if you're a frontline engineer, a developer or something like that, typically those holdback provisions don't apply to you. They're going to want to incent you with the traditional offer that you would get if you were just hiring that person off the street. So some kind of new stock plan, some kind of competitive salary, and they'll get paid some amount of money up front if this is a liquidation point. So let me explain what I mean by that. If the individual owns stock in the company, actually owns fully vested stock, that stock will often convert to cash. But as is the case with most employees, if they own options, if that company buying you has an option plan and is private or what have you, they'll often assume those options, take over those options, actually give you an option plan that just continues from where you left off. So there's no big cash payout for all of your options on the day that the company's acquired. Obviously, your mileage may vary. Different deals are negotiated in different ways, but this is what I see the most often. Okay, in a minute, I'll give you some tips on understanding what to avoid in a earnout or holdback provision discussion. But first, let's thank our sponsors. We'd like to thank GoDaddy for sponsoring this episode of AskJay. Looking to drive viewers to your video content? Then get a .tv domain name and stand out from the crowd. .tv domains are perfect for podcasters, video bloggers, people like me, anyone with something to say. And they're available now at GoDaddy.com. And remember, you can download GoDaddy's free iPhone, Android, or BlackBerry app to order right from your phone and manage your current domains and more. Check out revision3.com/GoDaddy for a list of all the amazing GoDaddy deals from Revision 3. And today, if you use the AskJay2 code, you'll get $5 off any order of $30 or more. So let's talk about some things to think about when negotiating what happens after the deal closes. First off, you as an entrepreneur absolutely need to know going into this discussion, do you in fact want to stay at this company for a long time? How long do you want to stay there? For example, like I said, most of these companies want you to stick around for a few years, just like hiring a new employee. But are you ready to start your next idea? I think it's better to be clear with that up front, maybe take a little bit less cash than you might otherwise do it and go for freedom if that's what you want. But if you're really interested in this idea and you really want to work for this company, just say that. And then you shouldn't be so concerned about holdback revisions taking a few years. So what do you want? Do you want to stick around or do you want to go? Second point, what is the requirements for getting that cash? I would argue time is something that is reasonable, and earnouts, things related to milestones, how confident are you that what they're requesting are realistic things to hit? I would avoid performance-based milestones if you can, because they're often going to change. There needs to be something in that term sheet that you've negotiated that accommodates for that change, because what if the market shifts? What if the company you work for decides to shut something down or affect some way the success of your product? You need to make sure that you understand that very clearly. Thanks for watching today's episode. So we want to see your face. Please post your video response, your video question on the youtube.com/AskJay Adelson channel. We'd love to see it there. Send your email to askjay@revision3.com if you like, or on Twitter via @Jay Adelson, link to your video response you've posted on YouTube. We'd love to see more video, obviously. So thanks for joining us, and until next time.